What if the difference between breakthrough and burnout is just one thing? What if the difference between where you are right now and being the unstoppable you that you already are is you picking up your phone and saying, "Hi, my name is," and going from there? No script, no polish, just you being visible and valuable because you are the signal. You're not the noise. You are the message that someone is waiting for. And until you be you, someone is going to continue to suffer in your silence. And today is the day for that to stop. Stop waiting for permission. Stop waiting for the reinforcement and be the signal, be the sound, be the message that the person so desperately needing and looking and wanting and waiting for you needs right now today. Hi, my name is Steve Kidd. I'm a third generation minister, international best-selling author of 38 books and counting. Got a couple more coming out for you here real soon. I've worked with over 5,000 people, helping them write, publish, market their books to bestseller. More importantly, everything that goes beyond that. Because what I really do is I help you become visible and valuable. Your book is a day one launch strategy. It helps you reinforce your messaging. But what people need to see is your bright, shiny face. They need to know you. We buy from people that we know, like, and trust. And in this world of AI, in this day and age where there is so much noise, to be real, to be genuine, to be you, to be the signal amongst all the noise, to be the truth among all the lies, and to be real among all the fake. That is absolutely what you need to be, who you are, and what you're called to be. Yesterday, we talked a little bit about you overflowing and that, you need to just have the stuff that's in you, the stuff that's dying to come out. You need to let it come out. It's already bubbling all over and it spews out on your spouse and your kids and your coworkers and people, random strangers that happen to trigger that thing. You're already overflowing. You need to, though, be the signal on purpose. You need to not just accidentally overflow all over everybody that happens to run across you. You need to clearly and consistently connect with the person that you're meant to reach. You see, the issue isn't readiness, it's permission. It's not about you getting to some place that you can be. It's not about needing another course, another training, another how to speak course or training. It's not about, another book that you need to read. Maybe about a book you need to write, but it's definitely not about another learning material you need. You're prepared. You need to give yourself permission, and then you need to do it. The only way to be visible is to be visible. The only way to be seen is to go someplace where people can see you. Some of you may live in a big town and you may be able to, and I caution you a little bit on this because if you just go into the town square and start spewing out your greatness, you might get carted off in a hug a shirt, you understand what I mean by that? Hug a shirt, right? Um, you know, but when you show up live on your Facebook, on your LinkedIn, on your Twitter, on your TikTok, on your Instagram, when you show up and you show the people, hey, this is me, this is my face. Yeah, I didn't shave today. Can you tell? And you just talk to the people about the thing that's already flowing out of you to be real and raw and valuable and vulnerable, to be the signal. There is so much noise, and AI is just making it worse. You could go to AI right now and you could say, write a book on blah, blah, blah in the style of C.S. Lewis. And you could actually say literally blah, 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 Write the next follow-up book to the Chronicles of Narnia in the style of C.S. Lewis. Now, for those of you that have read all 7 of the Chronicles of Narnia, you know that the 7th one ends with basically everybody going to heaven. Okay? So the follow-up book could be really interesting. I might actually do that prompt later today just for fun. But, seriously though, I mean, you can have it create all this stuff and you can say, what should I post today? Okay, none of these are good prompts, by the way, if you're using AI, but you can do it and it's going to give you a whole bunch of stuff. And if you don't look at it, if you don't arrange it, reformat it, put it into your voice, if you don't give it a data set, the age old saying, garbage in, garbage out. Worse than garbage in is nothing in, because then it's just going to pull everybody in the whole world's trash and put it together and throw it at you and see if you'll accept it. It's like AI wants to turn you into the universal recycling center. Here's all the stuff that everybody else in the whole world uh, didn't quite hit the mark with, doesn't want, doesn't need. It's their garbage, and I'm going to give it to you. And if you use it, I'm going to kind of keep giving you garbage. Now, the flip side to it is AI is a great tool, just like a hammer is a great tool, just like this water bottle is a great tool. They're tools. They have a purpose. If I use this water bottle to pound in a nail, it's going to be very ineffective at that. And more than likely, because it's plastic on the exterior, it's going to eventually puncture. I use the hammer to drive in the nail. I use the water bottle to hold the water so that I can stop in the middle of a live like this and go and drink water and stay hydrated. AI is the same thing. It's a tool. And if you give it the right data, if you tell it who you are, then it can help you. If you give it, this is the talk I'm thinking about doing, can you give me some feedback on it? The other side to that is you got to know you well enough to be able to take that feedback and then use it effectively. Because the different AIs, like just using, say, for example, ChatGPT and Claude, 2 of the major AIs, if you give them the same, say, document, say you wrote an article, you give them the same article, they're going to give you 2 totally different responses. ChatGPT has a tendency to kind of shine you on a little bit, tell you how amazing you are, even when you sometimes aren't. And if you tell ChatGPT, what do I need to do to make this a 10 out of 10? It'll give you the information to do that. And then if you do that and you come back and say, now with having done that, is this a 10 out of 10? It's going to say yes. Doesn't necessarily mean what you wrote actually is a 10 out of 10. It could. And if you give it the right data, it definitely can be. But it's a tool. See, that's where all the noise is being created, is because so many people are just popping things in, not editing it, not giving it data to start with, and they're just taking all the garbage that gets dumped onto them in their own personal recycling center, and they recycling it out to their social media, their email list, their stuff. But clarity, consistency, and intentional connection, that comes from you pouring out your heart and soul. And there's no better way to do that than to just simply open your mouth and speak. Pick up your phone. Hi, my name is, and start talking. Turn on your camera on your desktop, laptop, computer, whatever kind of a setup you've got. Turn it on and say, hi, my name is. You can get all fancy and you can learn all the tricks of the trade, and you can do what we call a hook, which is what I did at the beginning of this before I introduced myself, to get that scroll stop. And you can learn all of those talents and stuff later, because connection has nothing to do with whether or not you can be fancy enough and practiced enough. Connection has to do with, can you be real? Can you be you? You are absolutely destined and meant to serve and connect and be there for somebody. But that's only going to work when you're you. If you're trying to do your impression of Zig Ziglar, Tony Robbins, Oprah Winfrey, Barack Obama, whomever, we've already got those people. They did a great job of being them. The reason why they are as massively successful as they are more than anything else is because they were just genuinely them. I remember one time I heard Oprah actually talking, and she was talking about how her and Gail were having a discussion, and she said, "I think I'm a nice person," and Gail stopped her and said, "No, you're not." And Oprah said, "At first that really hurt my feelings." She goes, and I went back to Stedman and I asked him, and she said, Gail says I'm not a nice person. He says, "You're not." He goes, "You're helpful. You're a very great member of society, but you also have that harsh, direct part of who you are that is part of what's lovable about you. You're not Gail. You're not that everybody's friend kind of a person. That's not the place you need to fill in this world. And you don't need to be everything for everybody. You don't need to go out online and talk about everything. You need to talk about the thing to the person. You need to be clear. If you're not clear, yes, I do have tools in visibilityamplifier.com, our visibility amplifier group. And you should come and join us. Absolutely, you should. A, because we'd love to have you there. B, because we can help you really get clear. And C, because, well, it's a really cool group and we want to have you in it. And I'm copy and pasting, and I'm going to drop the link in the comments for those of you who didn't see it up in the description. But the best way to get clear is you just start talking. Just start saying the thing. You're going to feel it in you when you go off the rails. I mean, sometimes the rabbit trail is better than the whole sermon, and sometimes the rabbit trail is just a rabbit trail. Sometimes you take a left turn at Albuquerque, and sometimes you wish you would have taken a left turn at Albuquerque. Those of you that have seen Bugs Bunny know what I'm talking about. The rest of you think I'm crazy, and that's okay too. I loved how Don Crowther said when I was interviewing him. Don Crowther is a really high-end marketing expert, and he goes, he lives in Minnesota. He goes, if I'm a Vikings fan and you're a Cowboys fan, and I want to be talking about the Vikings, he goes, the biggest favor you could do for me is to not like the Vikings and opt out. He goes, that's a favor to me. When I'm clear in my messaging, then all the Cowboys fans that hate the Vikings, they don't want to hear anything I've got to say. And that's good, because then I don't spend my time talking to people who are not my ideal client. Same thing's true with you. Be real, be raw, be vulnerable, be valuable, but most of all, be visible consistently. And you will connect. If your intention is to connect, if you're reaching out, people can feel your heart and soul and core and spirit. We all know what it's like to deal with a pushy salesperson who is only looking at you as the person who's going to pay their next mortgage. That immediately turns us off. We're all savvy enough of buyers that we know that. I mean, it doesn't even have to be on a car lot. We could be in Home Depot. No, Home Depot is not a sponsor of the show, and they did not pay me for dropping their name. See what I did there? Just, me being real and real. Okay? But, you have those people that work there that are total experts. They're like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad you came by. You helped me really understand this thing. And then you have those people who are just trying to make their sale. And they're going to keep pushing this one product and pushing it and pushing it and pushing it. And that's not what you want. People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. Valuable and visible. Add value to the world. Center in on who you are. Be the signal of you. Because you know why I know you're the signal? Because you're the only you that's ever existed and ever will. And if you don't share the thing that is your unique brilliance, nobody else can or will. They'll come close. There are other people that are going to say exactly the same thing that you say. They're going to say it their way, not your way. They're going to resonate with their people, not your people. Somebody is waiting on you. I love this phrase that I started using yesterday, and I'm going to use it a lot now. Somebody's suffering in your silence. Somebody desperately needs you to go live right now and just share your stuff. Maybe you're having a horrendous day. You want to know the best way to get beyond those negative emotions? I'm showing it to you right now. I'm not living in this, like Shangri-La day. I actually am a little sick. I've got some kind of sinus issue. My nose may look a little raw and red. Got some kind of thing going on. And what I really want to do is take a nap. But I value you too much to just blow off the whole day, to stop going live today because I'm a little less than. And I know that with all the negative emotions, that if I put myself in service, I can't focus on those negative emotions. Now, as soon as I immediately start talking about how I'm feeling, I can feel my energy just going, ugh, feel my shoulders slump and all that kind of stuff. And I got to kind of, jazz myself back up and be like, hey, jazz hands, all right, do whatever you got to do. We need to be there for the people. I'm here for you. You see, visibility is what you were created to do. In a very real sense, it really is kind of a spiritual thing because it's you fulfilling your destiny. Overflow requires you to turn the valve on. Flow requires you to have input and output. Overflow means both that it's coming into the cup as well as it's spilling out of the cup. If it was a magical cup and every time more got put into it, the cup just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, there would never be overflow. That's why we got to talk. We got to share it. For some of you, you're very deeply spiritual aligned. I can tell you for me, and I told you at the beginning, I'm a third generation minister. This is where my ministry shows up now. I'm here to serve you, to help you be visible and valuable, not to proselytize you or talk to you about a certain religion or have a debate with you about religiosity, which I'm horrible at, which I was in a discussion with a good friend of mine, about an hour ago, maybe it was only 45 minutes ago, about just how unreligiously I am, to the point where when words that tend to be thought of as church and religious words, I shy away from them. But I love words like visible, valuable, be the signal. Someone's waiting on you. Someone is suffering in your silence. And that's where my ministry, my movement, my momentum, my motion, my Zaraz comes from. See, Zaraz is, as the verse says, your light will shine and draw all the kings of the earth unto you. Zaraz is a now word. Zaraz is what you are right this second. So what do we got to do? Got to pick up the phone. We got to turn it on. We got to go on to whatever social media, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, LinkedIn, use StreamYard and go to multiples of them simultaneously, YouTube, and we need to start with, hi, my name is, and then follow it up with, I'm here to help you with. So it would look like this. Hi, my name's Steve Kidd, and I'm here to help you learn the secrets of being visible and valuable. You see, it's really not that hard. What you need to understand is the only way to be visible is to be visible. And you already are valuable. If you will just share who you really are, be raw and real and exactly who you are. If you're funny, be funny. If you're kind of stale, If you're technical, if you're into into statistics, be that. See what I did there? And you don't have to be polished. You don't have to be perfect. You can have it right up in front of you. I've got over here on this screen. I'm going to look at it specifically as opposed to glancing over. I've got kind of an outline that I kind of sort of followed and kind of didn't at all. And I'm looking at it on purpose so you can see me. And you could do your whole life faced a little bit away from the camera, looking at the script that you've created for yourself. Yes, Patricia, you are into statics, high voltage. I love it. Um, I mean, you could just stare at the other screen, or you could do like I did with the hook. You could bring it over here right underneath of the camera and read it. Can you tell that I'm reading right now? I mean, I'm not reading right now. I mean, I am reading, but I'm not saying to you what I'm reading. That's fine too. Just be you. If you're high voltage, be high voltage. And if you're low energy, quiet church mousy, that's okay too. What you got to share is who you are. You just got to be you because nobody else can be. And somebody's waiting on you. They need you. They don't just want you. They aren't just kind of hoping that you're going to show up. They need you. They're struggling with the thing that you do so easily. That you're not going to, when you go to the, hi, my name is, and I'm here to help you. See how I did that? That's probably not even going to be the first 2,000 times the thing you're going to say. That's why if you go back and you look at a whole bunch of stuff that I've done, it all talks about books and about being a bestseller and about writing your books and stuff like that. And you got to look at the last 2-3 weeks now to see Steve really just being the real, raw, vulnerable, valuable Steve that I am, and talking to you about you, your message, being visible and valuable, about the 3 C's: clarity, consistency, connection. Be clear who you are. Find your way there if you don't know. Join the group and come out. Let us help you find it. And then say it, and then say it again, and then say it again, and then say it again. Speaking of statics, or really statistics, statistically speaking, back in the day, they were talking about it being 7 times. This was the day of mailers, all right? So you had to send out a mailer with an advertising offer 7 times. That's why to this day, the newspaper or in your local mailbox, one of the two, the local grocery store sends you the weekly ads because they want you to think of them top of mind as the place to go buy your groceries. And that's why if you live in a big city, you may get multiples of them because they're fighting for your attention. That number used to be 7 times before you would, even think of them as the place to go. And then it went up with the advent of email, that went up to about 12 because it became easier. And so it also became easier to discard. Now we're at somewhere between 40 and 100 times that somebody has to hear that same message. That same message that back in the days when word of mouth was the only form of advertising. I'm talking about the street barker. The now hear this, hear ye person walking through the street. And that was the only. And I got to stop myself here because you heard me say before, word of mouth advertising is only good advertising if they're advertising what you want them to. That street barker, he said, hear ye, and then gave a specific message over and over and over, and just walked down the streets ringing his bell, saying the same thing over and over again. And if you followed him down the street, you'd only just hear that one message or that one string of ads. And when it came by your house, you heard the, such and such is going on. come down to downtown to the, to the carnival that we're going to have that starts on Saturday. But now, we've got AI and everybody's on all the different social medias and stuff. So now we need to say the same exact thing like 40 times, or maybe even as much as 100, depending on whose statistic you look at. Mention me and all this to Randy Smith. I love it. Thank you. I appreciate that. It really, truly is what you got to do. You just got to keep saying it. And after you say it, you know what you got to do next? You got to say it again. And then that's where consistency comes in. So you have a clear message. You don't just go out on the street and say, hear ye, hear ye. Here's a bunch of stuff that I'm not sure what I'm talking about. Specific messaging, that's clarity. Okay. And then consistency is, we talked about this yesterday or the day before, about the reason why the 6 o'clock news is always on at 6 o'clock. It doesn't come on at like 6:15 and, they're like, hey, it's been kind of a low news day. So, we just, let Gilligan's Island play half of it and then we interrupted it and came in late. All TV shows are on a schedule. And if you do like I do and you DVR certain shows, it messes everything up when the TV doesn't respect the timing of things. When, like, say, for example, a football game goes over. And then what do? They either delay all the broadcasts for the primetime shows on Sunday evening, or they jump in the middle of one. And either way, if that's your favorite show, you're frustrated. Because, you didn't get to watch it live. You recorded it because you're at work or whatever. And you come in and you turn it on. And a football game that you had no interest in whatsoever, or maybe you loved, I don't know, it doesn't matter. You watch 20, 30 minutes of that, and then you only get to see the last half hour. Or worse, you only get to see the first half hour of your show. And then you have to go, and find a streaming media that has it. And then, depending on how the streaming media is set up, you have to watch the whole first half of it again because, it doesn't let you fast forward through that particular one. Many of them are good and they'll let you fast forward, but there are some that don't, especially with, the show that just came out. Consistency is that same thing. If you say you're going to be on, and that's why I always tell you, I'm going to be on in the noon hour Central Time, because I know that there are things that come up. I try to come on as close to right at 12 o'clock my time as I can. And I try to let you know if I know, like if I have an appointment, like I've had a few times, that I know is going to run over, I try to let you know, because I always do a post earlier in the day. Hey, we're going to go live. We're going to talk about this, and I always say in the noon hour. And if I know positively it's going to be closer to 12:30, I'm going to tell you. Consistency. By now, you should be expecting to see me do a post that says, we're going to be going live in the noon hour and we're going to talk about, and then tell you what the title is. And then sure enough, in the noon hour, we go live and we talk about that title. And what does that do for you? It helps you connect. People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. Remember, I said that 2 or 3 times now, just in this episode. And so when people know that you care, they feel you reaching out to connect to them. Say, hey, I'm here for you. I'm here to help you with. Why do you think the sentence stem was, hi, my name is, and I'm here to help you with? Because you're reaching out to them. I'm here to help you. I'm here to help you be visible and valuable. I'm here to help you speak so that nobody ever has to languish and suffer in your silence ever again. Somebody's waiting on you. They need you right now. They're crying out to you. You can listen back. About a week ago, I even sang you a song. Somebody needs you. People need you. Please go live. Please do it. Not because I'm begging and pleading. or desperate or any of those kind of things, but because the world needs you, because you're powerful and important and you are the signal. And this is your permission slip. If you can't give it to yourself, here's your permission slip. I just gave it to you. Now go live. Do it. Share it today. I dare you. Come on, you got this. Thanks for doing it. Tag me in it so that I can, I can join in and I can celebrate you. I can give you a heart. Tell you good job. I appreciate you. Hope you have a great rest of your week. We'll be together again tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel. Talk to you soon.